Stunts are a great way to liven up any movie. High-action moves that really take your breath away while your favorite character hangs in the balance of life and death. They're absolutely incredible to watch due to how dangerous they are, but some stunts can go very, very wrong. Before we get started, subscribe to CBR and ring that bell to join our notification squad so you never ever miss a video. Without further ado, let's get to these jaw-dropping dangerous stunts.
The end you always feared is coming.
Banned Mission Impossible stunt. The new Mission Impossible movie just hit the big screen, and action movie fans are flocking to the theaters to see the latest impossible mission Tom Cruise has gotten himself into. Justice League star Henry Cavill joined the cast and even did all of his own stunts, all except for one extremely dangerous one that he was banned from doing. This exploit involved him pulling a halo, aka high altitude low opening, which is a military style of parachuting and involves jumping out of a plane and free falling before opening a parachute at a low altitude. Sadly, Tom Cruise himself said that Henry couldn't perform the jump. Tom Cruise was more prepared for the jump itself, so the adrenaline rush stunt was given to Cruise instead.
Evil is good. Let me hear y'all say it. Evil is good.
Vampire in Brooklyn. While the cover art of this Eddie Murphy comedy horror looks pretty campy, the stunts in this film were so dangerous that it actually cost a performer her life. Female lead Angela Bassett's stunt double Sonia Davis was a highly skilled performer who had done depth-defying stunts in plenty of other big films. In this film, she was required to free fall off of a 45-foot building until she landed on a planted mattress below. However, the mattress was misplaced and her head cracked the pavement outside the mattress edges. She passed away soon after that tragic accident.
Grab some gear. This is what I do.
Resident Evil Final Chapter. This one is so gruesome you wonder if the stunt in the film was even worth it. Doubling for Mia Jovovich in Resident Evil Final Chapter, highly acclaimed stuntwoman Olivia Jackson had to speed down the road in a motorcycle with the camera on a crane set to move over her as she drove by. The camera didn't move, resulting in a horrific crash which degloved Olivia Jackson's face and severed an artery in her head and neck, causing a major brain bleed. She did recover fully. However, her arm did need to get amputated at a later date.
I never wanted any of you to die for me.
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. Stuntman David Holmes was filling in for Daniel Radcliffe ever since The Sorcerer's Stone, but that all came to an end when a horrific accident took place on set. Holmes was all rigged up to perform a jerkback that had him tied to wires and pull him back after an explosion went off in a scene. However, it went terribly wrong, and he slammed into a wall, breaking his neck and back. This accident paralyzed him from the chest down, but thankfully, he can still use his arms.
This is the Cannonball Run.
The Cannonball Run. In this 1981 movie about a cross-country car race, you can expect a lot of stunts that involve crazy car moves. The main car suffered loads of problems, including no seatbelts, bald tires, defective steering, and a malfunctioning clutch, something no one should be driving. The scene called for this not street-worthy car to drive head-on into oncoming traffic. The car crashed, naturally, leaving Farrah Fawcett's double Heidi Von Belt as a quadriplegic. Belt ended up suing Needham for $4.6 million. After this, a law was put forth that stunt cars need to have seat belts. This law is still enforced today.
I don't think the dead care about vengeance.
Bond films. James Bond's movies are notorious for their awesome stunts, but where there are awesome stunts, there are horrible accidents. Many mishaps have taken place throughout the 007 series, from boat crashes in Live and Let Die to Daniel Craig needing knee surgery in Spectre. In Quantum of Solace, a stuntman's car collided with a guard pole and was left dangling over a 50-foot drop. The stuntman was in a coma for several days before recovering. In the film For Your Eyes Only, Bond is involved in a high-speed bobsled chase. Sadly, a sleigh flipped, trapping stuntman Paolo Regan as it slid down the track, which killed him instantly.
Howard Hughes, millionaire genius, was a pioneer in aviation and motion pictures.
Hell's Angels. Eccentric 1930s billionaire Howard Hughes was obsessed with airplanes and was a huge influential filmmaker. Hughes bought 90 planes, hired several stuntmen, and spent $4 million to get his movie made. Hughes wanted one plane to dive down straight towards the ground and pull up at 200 feet. While another stuntman rightly laughed this off as impossible, Hughes did the stunt himself, bringing a camera to capture the moment and crashed headfirst into the ground. While the plane was covered in blood, Hughes was still in one piece and was back on set in a matter of days. In case you were wondering, he got the shot.
Any sharks down there?
Naturally.
Well, aren't you going to carry a gun or something?
Shark. This film has a pretty troubled history, so much so that the director of the film, Samuel Fuller, even removed his name from the movie. A bull shark, which is normally known for being dangerous and highly reactive, was caught, dragged on shore for a few hours to become incredibly tired, and then made to fight Mexican stuntman Jose Marco. But suddenly, a great white shark burst through the safety net and tore out Jose's stomach. The stuntman died later of blood loss. However, to make the cruel film somewhat crueler, the attack was all caught on film and later published in a Life magazine spread. The film even changed the name to Shark to capitalize the death of Jose.
Gentlemen, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
Django Unchained. Now this just goes to show how great of an actor Leonardo DiCaprio is. In the Tarantino flick Django Unchained, Django tries to free his wife from DiCaprio, who plays a wild slave owner. In the scene where Leo reveals that he knows about Django's scheme, Leo smashes a glass after he pounds on the table to prove his point. Leo actually cut his hand extremely badly, and that blood you see on his hand is real. He spins into a long monologue after that, while casually pulling the glass out of his hand and keeps the scene going.
Here's a bottomless pit, baby. 2.5 miles straight down.
The Abyss. This waterlogged sci-fi film was super difficult to shoot with all of its underwater scenes. The director, James Cameron, nearly drowned. While most of the actors had safety divers, James Cameron did not. He gave that task to his assistant director to alert him when he had 15 minutes left in his oxygen tank. The assistant forgot to tell him and realized he was out of air too late. Cameron had to ditch 40 pounds of camera equipment and make a break for the surface. Actor Ed Harris had a tough time as well, almost drowning. He ran out of air with a helmet full of water. His safety diver couldn't reach him because he became entangled in cables. Another backup diver managed to reach him, but accidentally gave him the rescue regulator upside down, giving the drowning star a mouthful of water. Ed Harris's actual rescue diver got himself free from the cables and managed to give him the rescue regulator and some life-giving air. Ed Harris says that he wept in his hotel room that night because he was so physically and emotionally exhausted.
Won't you take me with you?
Why, of course I will.
The Wizard of Oz. Margaret Hamilton played the Wicked Witch of the West in the family-acclaimed film The Wizard of Oz. This special effects trick was used many times in the movie, but in one scene, the stunt turned straight up dangerous and ended up burning the actress's face and hands pretty severely. You may recall the scene where the Wicked Witch first encounters Munchkinland, which is where the stunt goes totally wrong. She leaves Munchkinland in a fiery pyrotechnic feat of flames just how she entered. She was supposed to disappear behind the smoke and into a trap door. However, it didn't unhinge, leaving Hamilton face to face with a dangerous flames. Luckily, her face healed pretty fast, only spending some time away from the set. Her hands didn't heal as well, and she needed to wear gloves for the rest of the movie.
We're gonna be doing one thing and one thing only. Killing Nazis.
Inglourious Bastards. In the scene in which Hans Landa, played by Christoph Waltz, strangles German spy Bridget von Hammersmark, played by Diane Kruger, everyone knew the movie was about to get real. This scene was so important to director Quentin Tarantino that he didn't want to leave anything to chance, like trusting Waltz to do it correctly. Those are Tarantino's hands wrapped around Kruger's neck in the final cut, strangling her to death. Kruger passed out from filming this scene, which just so happens to be in the final cut of the movie, and we don't have to remind you about how many foot shots there are in that scene, only confirming Tarantino's foot fetish thing, but that's a list for a different day.
No, I think we should stay.
Why?
'Cause I'm in the dumpster already.
Pineapple Express. This lovable stoner comedy isn't known for its crazy stunts, but there was a pretty serious injury had by star James Franco. If you ever wondered why he wears a headband in most of the movie, here's why. In one scene, Franco and Seth Rogen's characters run into the woods, and Franco accidentally runs into a tree head-on. Maybe James Franco should have used a stuntman for this, because he collided with the tree so strongly that he ended up bursting his head and required 3 stitches. The headband is used throughout the movie to cover it up.
Hi there, my little droogies.
A Clockwork Orange. During one of the notable scenes in Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange, your movie's humble narrator Alex, voiced by Malcolm McDowell, is brainwashed into not wanting to commit criminal acts when he's forced to watch film footage of horrible things to make him sick. As part of the treatment, he's strapped into a chair with his eyes clamped open, preventing him from even blinking. Periodically, a hand reaches into frame and places eye drops into McDowell's eyes. That's actually a real doctor administering the moisture, because in some of the other takes for the shot, the clamps slipped and scratched one of McDowell's corneas. The doctor was hired to ensure McDowell didn't get more severely injured.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Godfather. Godfather is one of the most famous movies of all time, and even it had its own on-set injury. If you recall, there's a scene in which Sonny Corleone, played by James Caan, finds Carlo Rizzi, played by Gianni Russo, and gives him a wicked beatdown with a trash can lid to make sure Carlo doesn't abuse his wife and Sonny's sister Connie, played by Talia Shire, anymore. Caan got so caught up in the scene with the smacking and kicking of Russo that he cracked 2 of Russo's ribs and chipped an elbow. Russo is writhing around in the gutter in real pain there, but it made for such a great scene in the movie.
I'm Rachel.
Deckard.
Blade Runner. Unlike her replicant Blade Runner character Pris, Daryl Hannah is 100% human, and thus susceptible to the type of mishap that left her with a painful lasting reminder of her time on set. During a scene in which Pris ran away from genetic designer J.F. Sebastian, played by William Sanderson, Hannah slipped and fell onto a car, smashing the window with her elbow. It looks awesome in the movie, but it wasn't exactly planned. It's pouring down rain in the scene, and Hannah had slipped on the wet pavement for real, accidentally jamming her elbow through a sheet of real glass. She didn't break character though. She did, however, chip her elbow in 8 places and still has a scar.
No son of Troy will ever submit to a foreign ruler.
Troy. Troy has some pretty cool fight scenes, but one actor actually got pretty hurt in the most ironic way. While filming the final battle scene in the film, Pitt landed awkwardly, and you can see the pain on his face. It looks so painful because he's far from faking it. In a moment of supreme irony, Pitt, playing the Greek warrior Achilles, ruptured his Achilles tendon. Of course, the story goes Achilles was unbeatable, but his ankle tendon was his only weakness. It's sad, it's stupid, but it's true, Pitt later said. Still, it's pretty hilarious.
Is that gasoline I smell?
No, man. No!
The Crow. This is probably one of the most famous stunts gone wrong of all time. The film's main character, Brandon Lee, the son of Bruce Lee, had to get shot toward the end of the film with a prop gun. The gun was supposed to be filled with gunpowder only, but for some reason contained a fatal blank cartridge as well. The shot hit Lee in the stomach and caused his death. Even after hours of surgery, they couldn't save him. His death was the summation of many mysterious accidents on the Crow's set. Earlier, a carpenter was injured, but survived serious electrical burns from contact with high-voltage power lines. Another carpenter drove his car into the studio's plaster shop in a fit of rage. A worker suffered injuries after impaling his hand on a screwdriver, and a stuntman plummeted through the roof of a set. This swirled rumors that the set was cursed from the start. Many believe the moment his character is shot in the film was the exact moment he was shot in real life. Noah's Ark. This film had a lot of easily avoidable mishaps that actually cost extras their lives. While filming a flood scene, so much water was pumped into the set that 3 actors drowned. One actor got hurt so badly that he had to have his arm amputated. You may have never heard of these horrible incidents on the set of this film because it was made in 1928, way before laws and restrictions on set were made a normal thing.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight had some pretty impressive stunts. Sadly, not all of the stunts were pulled off effortlessly. Conway Wycliffe, a 41-year-old stunt technician, was killed in an incident where one of the camera trucks crashed into a tree. Wycliffe was riding in the backseat of a Nissan 4x4 when the car crashed into a tree at 20 miles per hour. He had been leaning out of the window and operating a camera, which was shooting a stunt car traveling parallel to his vehicle.
I'm gonna assume you know who we are.
Everybody in the German army's heard of you.
And there you have it. What stunt do you think was the craziest? What stunt did we leave out? Let us know in the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe to CBR for more videos just like this one. Thanks for watching.